TJ doing a fantastic job with the curve. I do enjoy that show. We'll have to head over there at some point to be on it ourselves and actually present some Hearthstone news for you guys.
Can
But
I get
for now,
your best TJ impression?
can you get mine? Later, because it requires me throwing to a break.
All right.
Okay, so we are going to move on now to the final series of the day, and it's going to be Surrender versus Staz. It's going to be Warrior versus Hunter. We're going to check out the deck list right now because for me, at least based off what I've seen, Staz has a mountain to climb. He's already lost against one Warrior this weekend, and Surrender's Warrior looks, again, we've seen a lot of Warrior today. It's just fairly standard as far as I'm concerned. It is the Geppetto variant, but everything else in there looks good to me.
Yeah, I guess the only thing we can note is that there's no Harrison, no weapons project, so the Eagle Horn Bow from Staz, which is pretty much what the deck is centered around, will be able to get quite a few charges in. That is, if Surrender even procs the secrets though, and we've seen already from many secret hunters throughout the week that it just don't go according to plan most of the time.
It really doesn't. Let's check out Staz's list, as it's the one that I guess is the focal point for this series. We're pretty much going through the Bomb Warrior matchups today, but this, I feel, so the idea of the deck is that secrets, along with minions that help you either gain more secrets or benefit from secrets, gain you enough tempo to just push out the game, and also your bows just get almost unlimited procs, which means you can start pushing a lot of damage. The problem is there are some classes and decks in the game right now that don't really have to proc these secrets. They don't have to play 3 cards to have a good turn, to just not proc Rat Trap. They don't have to particularly run minions in for Explosive, Freezing, and Snake, and Snipe they cannot really care that much about. And if you don't proc the secrets, then a huge portion of the value of this deck is gone, because not only does the bow not continue to gain charges to push more damage, it also means second versions of the secrets don't get played and gets clogged up in hand. It also means that Zul'jin often doesn't get its full power because it is not doing Dire Frenzy things in this deck, which is the most powerful, and it does not do Master's Call things in this deck. So without the card draw to support Hunter, I don't know how good Hunter is, and at least for now, I'm joining Tyler on the trash train of describing this deck.
On the garbage truck.
Yeah, there you go. That's a much better way to put it.
All right, I hate to be too harsh on the deck though, because on paper, or at least on HS Replay, it seems like it is one of the highest win rate Hunter variants, although we have discussed already that what you might see on ladder does not necessarily reflect its win rate in open decklist formats, because secrets are just by definition the type of card that benefits the most from lack of information of your opponent.
Yeah, and these players do have full knowledge of their opponent's deck lists, and they also will be tracking things like which secrets get played, how they're pulled, which ones have already gone off, etc. So the battle against knowledge is not the same as it is on ladder. And also, I think I said this morning that I played Rogue against this deck today, and it struggled because I don't think Rogue you can wait, because you just start getting hit for damage every turn. It did help with a secret into Mass Contender, into Bow, Curve, but Rogue was a tough one. I struggled greatly, but Warrior, I think, is just one of the decks that can just ignore a lot of the stuff that Hunter does, and then even in the Hunter Mirror that we've seen that this deck has lost because the other Hunter's been mid-range, I feel like that just does more powerful stuff and draws cards, so it's going to beat that as well. So I think although it may have some good matchups, I think what you expect players to bring, or at least what I would expect the players to bring this week, there was not enough good matchups to warrant having the odds of hitting the good ones over the bad ones.
Yeah, Staz did mention that he feels that Secret Hunter is favored against mid-range Hunter, although that Samuel Cao versus Blitzchung series might say otherwise. Small sample size, but it did look kind of like a stomp for the non-Secret Hunter player. But aside from that, it also matches up apparently pretty well against Tempo Rogue and against Cyclone Mage, but unfortunately for Staz, he did hit 2 Bomb Warriors, and this is going to be an uphill battle for sure. But he has got a secondary deck that hedges a little bit in his favor.
Yeah, looking at the opening hand here, we're going to get an idea of what Staz wants to do. I think the Zul'jin will go, but Coin into Freezing Trap into Sunreaver Spy into Mass Contender is one of the better curves I think you can do with this deck.
I completely agree. The best you can ask for maybe on top of this is just 2 Secret Keepers to coin out on one.
I guess so, yeah.
Other than that, though, Freezing Trap is one of the better ones to play early on because it's unlikely that Surrender has exactly the 1 drop to proc it, compared to, for example, Snipe. which any minion played from
procs,
Surrender will proc. But
Also
Staz
as-
not going to take the risk.
Also, as a late game, it's much easier for Warrior to generate 1/1s or smaller minions to like just proc the freezing trap and not care. But already Surrender down with a 1-drop, and Staz chose to throw away the secret.
Yeah.
And this is where questions get asked.
Yeah.
You have cards that benefit from secrets, and you throw one away.
I think Staz was going for the very greedy mulligan of getting a better secret, and I honestly don't blame him. Not just because in this instance the freezing trap would have gotten procced had it been coined out on turn 1, but also just because the matchup seems so bad on primary that maybe you need the mulligan super greedily to get any chance of winning.
I don't know.
Round can be played this turn, but Rover overall just seems like a good minion in the matchup that benefits off of Explosive Trap. Can punish Snake Trap, I suppose.
Maybe Rover's just fine. Yeah, I think Rover's okay here.
Yeah, because the Scrap Hound does just get eaten by the...
It just dies.
Yeah.
But I think Rover, because it's also another minion that you can kind of hold a little bit until the right time, it generates more stuff. Staz does have to be aware of it. It's a great target for Ziliax afterwards if it's ignored. And also not a bad minion to play into Snipe.
All salient points, but the Security Rover into Snipe, that seems pretty fun to me.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning, the Rover.
Oh, sorry, I thought you talked about the Scrap
No,
Hound.
no,
Wow.
no, no, no.
Yeah,
All those
okay.
descriptions were Rover
Oh my gosh,
descriptions.
all right. Sixth match of the day really gets to me. So Animal Companion here. Huffer, great result. Misha, not too bad either. In this case, I think you send the damage face. Oh, that doesn't deny Wrench Caliber, but the thing is, you give him a Shield Slam if you don't go face. A Shield Slam with no other mana committed to the turn.
So
at
I guess the
least.
question
Yeah.
is, what's
Yeah.
worse for you, a Wrench Caliber or a Shield Slam going off? I guess you're more okay with a Wrench Caliber because it actually deals damage to Surrender, and you don't really care about the bombs in this deck.
I think worst case scenario for Staz is exactly Shield Slam plus 3-drop, in which case Surrender gets the board and deals with Misha efficiently. So in that case, you should go face.
Yeah, I can see it.
The way that Militia Commander interacts with this board is that the Town Crier wouldn't do anything anyway, so I think this is fine. And no Wrench Caliber is available, so Staz gets slightly rewarded for that. Life Drinker is just the curve play, but man, do these cards look
Honestly,
bad.
there's a curve from Hunter, and I still feel like it's in a rough spot. And that is not how Hunter should be done. But I don't know, I'm so confused.
I agree.
There's 2 drops, coin, 3 drops, 4 drops, kill commands when needed, and the Hunter's still behind and hasn't done anything that much better than a mid-range Hunter would do. Is my worry with the deck for submission this week.
Yeah, it's in fact done worse, because I've seen mid-range Hunters win against even unfavored matchups. So there's a decent Dynomatic, but it involves trading Surrender's board, so maybe just going for this is a little bit better. There's a secret. I think that and the Masked Contender get played this turn.
Looks like it works to me. So I'm just giving a nod like, okay, right, here we go. Here comes the deck.
And there is one secret he can't account for, not that he's tested for the first one at all. So Explosive Trap was the one generated by the Contender.
There are small considerations that are done because the Contender pulls a secret and uses it from your deck, right?
You play Hunter more than me.
Okay, the Contender pulls a secret and uses it from your deck, which means that the 2-ofs are more likely than the 1-ofs, I guess. Okay. Well, I guess it depends on how the card works. Because if it just says there are these different secrets and it picks one, or whether it says there are these many cards that are secrets and it picks one. Because those two things are different, even though they might have sounded the same in the way I described them.
I am honestly not sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how it works in terms of choosing which secret, whether having 2 ofs makes it favor them more versus than having a 1-0. Tweet to play Hearthstone account coming in later on.
Yeah. Security Rover here doesn't seem too bad at all. Surrender knows that the remaining secret is not freezing. Could be sniped from his perspective still. Does just match up pretty well against the board.
Yeah, I think getting the Rover down just whenever you can is just good, because the card is just solid versus Hunter. Especially now at 6 health, you can't even kill command that thing to only make it generate 1, 2, 3. You have to actually trade multiple times in most instances, which means that it's going to summon a lot of things. Staz does play double Deadly Shot though in this list, so it does mean that a trade plus Deadly Shot would feel real bad for Surrender.
So another one pulled from the deck. Most likely to be Freezing or Rat, because those are the 2 ofs, but it did get the snipe, so maybe there is something fishy going on here, Raven. In any case, the Security Rover I recommended for Surrender's play last turn because it is super awkward for the Hunter to deal with. Just with their maximum one go of damage is 5. So the buff is actually super relevant here. And it probably incentivizes Staz to ignore the Security Rover, in which case Surrender's Dinomatic gets even better, I think.
It's tough as well where Staz thinks this game is going to go, because I'm firmly of the belief that with double kill command in hand, you go face with everything every turn, unless you literally can't. So I like this from Staz, just go face, probably press the hero power to get the damage in.
I guess he's just deciding between hero power and the spy. He hovered over the spy a lot, which maybe gives Surrender some information. Wow, that Warpath. Just generate all the 2-3 taunts. I guess they'll become 2-2 and 2-1 after the Warpath does its thing, but still, it's like patron days. He can't quite fit in the 4th Warpath for the full clear, but
maybe he just waits. What if he just plays Dynamatic and armors up this turn?
I wouldn't hate it. Most likely it would clear off the snakes. Because
also, he's not exactly taking a lot of damage, is he?
Nope.
Especially if he plays the Dynamatic, you've got to assume minimum the 2 snakes die. He's going to go for what? Warpath and then Dynamatic. Is that any better?
Doesn't kill off the...
No, it doesn't quite do it, does it?
I think you're fine just generating more taunts with this while you can.
Staz is running only 1 Unleash.
Yeah, he does have to just worry about the Rat Trap, so he'll probably press hero power here for the last one. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good middle ground. Just solid. Not going to bother attacking, doesn't want to activate any secrets. And now, welcome to the problem with the deck.
You mentioned Raven. You should go face with this deck unless you literally can't. Well, he literally can't.
Yeah. You can't even kill both minions.
Oh, he could kill command them, but yikes.
Yeah, you can, I guess. I think it works out okay, right? Because the kill command allows you to push 2 damage, which means you can make up the damage you lose by losing kill command by doing this. So in a roundabout way it works out, and I do like Staz just pressing the hero power as often as possible, but he is edging towards the point that Surrender could stabilize, and then Staz has a Zul'jin that plays secrets and a kill command, and then Surrender just wins.
He's also managed to put exactly 6 health on the board, which makes the Dinomatic a little bit more awkward. But now Surrender has drawn Militia Commander, which allows him to test for freezing. Because I'm pretty sure he doesn't want the Rover to be frozen. Let's say Militia Commander hits in the 3-4. If it gets frozen, worst case scenario for Surrender, he can still trade in the Rover into the 2-2 and generate a taunt.
Could even armor up Shield Slam if he really, really wanted to remove something and save the health on the Rover.
Militia Commander, as we mentioned many times throughout the Secret Hunter games, also survives a proc of Snipe. That's quite good.
Okay. Snipe goes down and eats up Dinomatic, but Surrender's probably actually happy with that because now he knows that he's relatively safe to do this, which means his board just gets stronger. And this is the issue, like I just don't think this deck can beat Warrior.
Did he not test for freezing? Because I know he proc Snake at some point.
He attacked early, didn't he? But the one secret he doesn't know was the snipe.
Right.
And the snipe went off when he played the minion, so he knew he could attack. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Staz has just had a rough patch with this deck, and I'm not saying the deck. I'll move away from Tyler, but I'm not saying the deck is just a horrible Hearthstone deck. I think it just wasn't right for this, and obviously it doesn't help that he did run into 2 warriors, but I honestly do not know how this deck kills warrior. Staz curved.
This is easily its worst matchup,
yeah.
But even so, like, you can't just say that you're unlucky running into your worst matchups, I think, when knowing that Bomb Warrior is so prevalent every single week.
What to do?
Staz will want to lock in the deadly shot soon.
He's
going to give himself the most chance of getting that rover killed.
Surrender's like, okay, he's used 2 kill commands, so the burst from hand is very, very limited now. I think Staz might have to rely on something crazy like...
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, wow. I was going to say something crazy like Zul'jin into exactly this order. Summon Huffer, kill command double to Surrender's face, and then there's not even a way to remove the taunt is there.
Oh, yeah, deadly shot.
Oh, deadly,
he just played deadly shot, right?
Yeah.
And he still is 1 damage shot.
But he would recast explosive and stuff.
Yeah. And then Surrender just doesn't attack all game and armors up and wins.
Yep.
So I'm not overly sure what Surrender's waiting for here. Oh, he's just going to play the boom. Okay, I thought that was going to be a Snap Geppetto, but I think what he's doing here is saying, right, I just can't lose this game if I press armor up every turn. And you know what? Surrender's better than me at this game. And I'd have to agree with his answer he came to in the end. Because I do like Geppetto, but the armor up actually is just better overall.
Staz can do this cute thing where he coins Zul'jin and then recast coins so he can play Secret Keeper. Whoa, 11 mana turn. But
can. And it may be a cute turn. But does it win him the game?
I'm gonna answer with a fat no.
Well,
there's the Huffer, but it's dead. Can't attack.
The bomb finished it off yet.
Yep.
Kill command. Okay.
You know, I still think this is an above average outcome for Staz, and it still did nothing.
Yeah, it did. Oh, a note as well, as you can probably tell, the Zul'jin does not play Mass Contender secrets that Mass Contender played.
Right.
So it's even worse, because you might be wondering, wait, he played more than 1 secret, what happened? Mass Contender played the secret, not you.
So that is just the snake trap.
Yeah.
And because this game is pretty much over, I would like to start talking more about these fun Zul'jin interactions. Did you know that if you get Zul'jin as rogue, and then Zul'jin casts Preparation, the Preparation discounts stack. So if you cast 2 preparations, the raiding party can go down to 0 mana, because Prep says the next spell you cast costs 2 less. But if Zul'jin casts it, it does stack.
I knew that, but I'm sure someone in Twitch chat did not. So good job.
Can you think of some more trivia?
Weird interactions.
What does Surrender have to worry about? The scariest thing that
what
Staz
he's
can
having
draw?
for lunch later.
Sure.
Or dinner, I guess, depending on what you call it. Because at this point, it just doesn't matter, does it?
I was going to say Unleash the Beast is probably Staz's best draw, but it still does nothing but remove the boom, in which case, with the hero power, in which case Surrender still has 7 damage on board, continually gaining armor, setting on Boom Mad Genius in hand. Maybe it's time to bust out that TJ impression, Raven.
It's not, I can't throw to break.
But there's no more breaks, this is the last game.
Okay,
You're trying to debate me, right?
No, I'll try and weave it in later on.
Alright.
There's a plan. But for this game, though, I don't want to be that guy, but I just don't think Staz can win at all. I don't think Staz really had a good chance of winning from turn 1, unless Surrender drew his deck backwards in terms of mana curve, maybe. I don't know. And even then, maybe Surrender still wins.
There was a way if Staz had kept the freezing trap and Surrender didn't have a 1-drop, but that's not a universe.
So funnily enough about the 1-drop thing, if he kept, he could coin out the 2-3 into a 1-drop, then play the freezing trap to prep for the contender. So he wasn't even completely... You don't have to coin the freezing trap.
Right,
Just play a 2-3 against a 1-2 or a 1-3. Kill it over a couple of turns and then do the freezing trap into contender.
It's a strong point.
So I think it still wouldn't have been the end of the world because there were plays around that. I think, to be completely fair, Staz not drawing an Eagle Horn bow sucks because he missed a good chunk of damage this game, and it meant that Surrender could play a little bit more freely because he wasn't handing Staz extra 3 damage a turn. So there is that, and that can make a big difference. But I think from the point we're at right now, Staz has to do some magnificent things to even come close to winning this game. Surrender's just not played Dr. Boom Mad Genius for about 5 turns in a row.
That is actually so funny.
That's when you know you're feeling pretty good.
Just never needed to do it. Staz looking for any out. Hunter's Mark can deal with the boom, but my gosh, he's only drawing 1 card per turn. Barring tracking, I suppose, which is essentially still just drawing 1 card.
Yeah, it's just having more choice over the card you draw than anything
And
else.
Subject 9, but what are the secrets even doing? There's only Rat and Freezing remaining in the deck, and Surrender has all the time in the world to play around them. 2 kill commands gone, so Surrender's confident about his health total.
Even an Acolyte now. The one weakness Surrender had was the double brawl not doing a line hand, and then he draws an Acolyte so he can draw cards afterwards. Surrender takes the victory in game number 1, and not too much of a surprise based on what I've seen in this matchup previously.
Right. And now Staz will be moving to his secondary, which will show more signs of life, but when I got the chance to talk to Staz before any of his GMM matches this week, he did mention that while the primary is heavily unfavored, the secondary still isn't favored, maybe 45% at best. And that's because it has high mains, it has Unleash the Beast, a second copy, it has 9 lives for a 3rd high main, but it still doesn't have Master's Call, it still doesn't have Dar's Frenzy.
Yeah, and it's really rough, right? Even if we look at that game, Staz had a reasonable keep option. He had, after that, a reasonable opening hand. He got double contender off. He didn't have the bow, which is key, don't get me wrong. But after that, Staz had decent cards, and Surrender did, and it wasn't even close. So does Staz have to get the nuts draw, and Surrender have to literally draw consecutive worst draws in his deck every single turn to make this happen? Maybe. But I'm pretty sure Staz is going to move on to his secondary list. Maybe we can take a look at Staz's Hunter list right now, if anyone's listening, and we can see what's going on here. Perfect. So that Surrenders, and he probably stays on his main deck. And yeah, can we have Staz's, please? We can move across. But maybe the tertiary could be a pick for Surrender because it's more weapon removal with the weapon project. So maybe that's a choice. But yes, Surrender did move to his tertiary, so he has gone for that weapons project and more weapon removal to stop that bow being a potential problem. And Staz has gone to this secondary list, which we wanted to talk about. -1 freezing trap, -2 deadly, -2 life drinker, but then the 9 lives, which acts as a sort of kind of 3rd high main, and the 2 high mains, an extra unleash, and a Leroy. So you see the plan: more late game punch and more consistent actual heavy minions to get some work done. But now that Surrender is running the 2 weapons project and a Harrison, well, Staz won't be able to keep a bow.
Yeah,
and that's just a fact now.
The removal of Mega Assembly might be a small detriment for Surrender, but definitely not enough to push the matchup in the favor of Staz. He also, Surrender also has a 1-of Spellbreaker, which can help deal with high mains.
Yeah.
So I think Surrender's still in a perfectly good position, and for Staz to win, I think the deck relies very heavily on having high main 6 and 7. Maybe high main on 6 is not enough. And this high main 6-7 needs to be supported by a decent early game, so you're not just run over by the Bomb Warrior curve.
Right, and there we go. Just a second look there. We did switch off because we wanted to talk about Staz for a second. But yeah, as you can see there, you lose Omega, you lose Elix and a Geppetto, fine. But 3 weapon removals, a silence, and an extra 1-drop to help out with these secrets early on means that it's almost the perfect card switches, right? To go against specifically this deck. 3 weapon breaks, a silence, and an extra 1-drop.
Yeah.
Just seems good to me, so that's a good plan.
I think that what Staz needs to do essentially is high roll the curve even more than he did the last game, because I would already say he had an above average opening hand and still couldn't get there. So he needs to get that again, and on top of that, have high mains on curve and perhaps unleash the beasts before Zul'jin. It just needs to be a very specific combination of conditions, which if you're asking one deck to do that consistently, you've got to take a look at the deck.
And it feels a little bit weird, and again, I want to talk to some players that play the Secret Hunter more, but the fact that, as I mentioned in the last game, that Zul'jin doesn't activate secrets that are pulled from Mass Contender means that the Zul'jin turn is a whole lot of nothing most of the time, right? A kill command here, an animal companion, and maybe the one of Unleash the Beast in the main deck at least. But the secrets, you might get, depending on you draw 1 or 2 secrets, and if the Mass Contender isn't pulling the secrets for you, which then negates Zul'jin's power, well then you've had to play the full 2-cost secrets yourself, which means your early game was worse. So, I don't know, let's just get into it. We've talked a lot, and I don't want to hate on any given deck, but I think this matchup is one of the most one-sided matchups I've seen in Hearthstone for a long time.
Yeah, for the entirety of GM that I've watched or cast, I don't think any deck has put up less of a fight than Secret Hunter versus Bomb Warrior. And that's not to be any detriment, any insult to the players, but rather just maybe a missed meta read because they were clearly Staz and Blitzchung hoping to run into more mages and rogues. In any case, Staz does end up keeping Snake Trap and Sunreaver Spy, and Snake Trap is very difficult to proc for the Warrior. In fact, impossible before any minions are on board, so I think that's definitely an ideal secret to have in the opening hand. He now needs maybe a Contender or Secret Keeper to make this a bit more nuts for Staz.
Nope. Mark shot and Unleash the Beast, whereas Surrender has instant guaranteed weapon break whenever he wants, so this bow he can just remove from the game once at minimum, and he has 2 more weapon destructions in his deck, which means that by the time he gets to deal with bow number 2, he's probably drawn the other weapon removal too.
Yeah. Still though, I think playing Snake Trap into 2 mana 3/4 is not awful for Staz here. The answers for Surrender against a 4 health stat line minion don't come until Surrender has 4 mana, which is a Militia Commander. Problem is for Staz, he won't have a turn 3 play. But are you so worried about that? Like, you've got several draws going into that. Animal Companion's great, Mass Contender's great. I feel like I would have wanted to see Staz take
There's one.
Yeah, that would have been great. I feel like I would have wanted to see Staz take a more aggressive stance.
Yeah, I mean, the more I see this deck, the more I'm confused as to how to play it, and I thought I knew how to play Hunter. Because in this matchup, I think you have to go pretty aggressive, even with the high mains. Because with the lack of card draw, you don't necessarily get to the high mains consistently anyway. But now it's going to have to be bow.
Could be Companion. 2 out of 3 results are good, but I guess both Misha gets punished by Militia Commander, while Hover gets punished by Wrench Caliber, so Eagle Hornbone just
I think most importantly, you want bow down so it's active and live for the secrets.
Sure.
And then next turn, the Sunreaver Spine to coin Animal Companion if you feel like it, which means that it will force some level of response from Surrender, which then procs the secret, which then activates the bow durability, and so on, so on. So
yeah.
I think you literally have to just chain damage for the whole game to win this one.
The whole domino effect, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that not coining the secret on turn 1 could have been a potential blunder. Maybe that's caster vision because, or rather results-oriented thinking, because we saw Staz drew turn 3 plays, but I do think that the deck relies so much on high rolling that you just need to believe that you're going to draw a 3-cost card.
There's 11 3-cost cards in the deck.
Wow.
Although one of them's Unleash and 2 of them's Kill Command and 2 of them are Deadly Shot.
Okay.
So there's half of that, say 5 to 6. But also, all your secrets are just reasonable turn 3 plays anyway, because you do want to play your secrets in this game. So, I don't know. I thought you had to play very aggressive even with this changed list, but I'm not the one bringing it to GM. I'm just the one talking about it.
Staz there, I think, is going to hold on to coin because he has Unleashed the Beast for several... Or maybe not.
I would have snap coined this.
Really?
Yeah.
Then your turn 4 is more... I feel like having consecutive Unleash the Beast against Warrior is probably one good game plan to go for.
Yeah.
The problem is, in many worlds, the 4/5 is going to value trade the Misha. But he's not too sad because he has Snake Trap.
Yeah, the Snake should make up for it. The worry is then the Dynamatic comes down to clear it. Or if Dynamatic comes down now, this is horrible. You probably lose if Dynamatic is played this turn.
I feel like the phrase "this is horrible" has been going through Staz's mind and Blitzchung's mind throughout the entire week.
And then Surrender's going to get the good news.
And it's not
I don't think he knew it wasn't freezing until now. That was the first menu you played, right? So so now, there's the Unleash the Beast chains of 4 of them. The second one is because Staz has moved over to this the secondary deck. So he is seeing the output and the value from that deck switch. But it's so slow is the problem.
I can see a game plan for Staz where he just tries to cosplay mid-range Hunter and go Unleash the Beasts into Zul'jin and then make the Warrior answer that board. The problem is they often have the Brawl. So I think it's on Staz to not only have Zul'jin sooner rather than later, it's also trying to force Surrender into brawling early. Also, I do not know why Unleash the Beast was not played this turn when he has essentially 4 copies of it.
Now.
At least he has the 2-drop to follow up with, so he has a 3-4. And if he snipes that, it means he can potentially kill this. What he does is he wants the snakes to go off.
Sure.
But I think Unleash the Beast would make the snakes go off anyway. And what spells are there to discover that are better than Unleash the Beast in the next few turns? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would have much rather have seen Unleash the Beast there. From Surrender's perspective, he's tested for everything but Snake and Rat. And
I think overall, Surrender should just disrespect this deck heavily right now.
Like all of us have been doing so far.
But I think from last game and from how this game is going, he should just, I don't know, just not think the deck is going to do anything good because it hasn't so far.
Defend the gates.
I don't know if that's a good philosophy to have in
He's going to be
general.
able to break this weapon though.
Yeah, the weapons project is definitely pretty great here. Also
I like
deals
the
with the
damage to
snake.
face. This is the rough level of disrespect I was talking about.
Okay.
Just let Staz have to respond to Surrender, is what I mean by disrespect. Like this was just a good play, right? If you prod the secret, then you get to break the weapon. And breaking the bows, we talked a lot about in the last game, about Staz's lack of being able to chain Eagle Horn Wombo, meant that he was missing some damage that he should have normally had. But this is just nice, because now there's, what, 7 health on board? It's like, well, your high main doesn't look so great, because it's just too slow. Like, Surrender's damage output is higher than Staz's right now, which is scary.
It's crazy. Of course, Staz can still switch it around, Unleash the Beast for the value trade, also use the Wrench to deal with the Gear Blade, sorry, to deal with the Militia Commander. High main on 6. This was one of the rare occasions where I think it was not the superior play.
Yeah, high main would have done the same job, but slower. I think Boom's fine. Although you face tank the 5-1, which is alright with the weapon, you go into armor, especially, oh no, he was swapped from Blast Shield, wasn't he? But the big deal for me is Rush against a minion-focused deck is so good. Because every single card or most of the cards you play can interact with the board, and Staz needs a board to win the game.
I can see a world where this pans out in Staz's favor, but it involves Surrender whiffing for several turns in a row. But Staz is going to be able to play high main a little bit off curve, but still very effective in the situation. Once Surrender deals with it, I imagine with some type of Spellbreaker and... Well, he doesn't have the mana for Spellbreaker Brawl, but once the high main is dealt with, Staz can discover a second one. And in the meantime, play 5/5s.
Worst case, you could 1-drop Brawl, right? If high main lives, that obviously sucks. If it doesn't live, then you clear everything but a 2/2.
He might start the turn with Shield Block and look for Shield Slam. Would be pretty good.
I think it's better than putting an extra minion on for the Brawl.
I don't really want to brawl this, do you?
Well, you get to
okay,
brawl and
yeah.
draw Ziliax. The
Oh,
hero
was it
power.
guaranteed Ziliax? Was it?
I think has he played 2? Oh, I'm not sure now. Anyway, but then the hero powers. Oh, he's gonna hold. Okay. I was gonna say because the hero power does so well versus the post brawl board. Potentially anything that's left, you have the hero power and the weapon. But if I guess it's if the high main lives, that's like a really big problem for you. Oh, the hero power next turn for surrender along with Ziliax is actually pretty nice.
Staz, though, can just unleash the beast to kill off the Harrison, potentially play one of these secrets to bluff freezing, or just something that prevents the high main from dying straight up to a double trade. And push the high main face. I don't think this ever goes anywhere else for the rest of the game, unless it literally can't.
What if you trade into the 1-2 with the 5-5?
And then bluff freezing. Okay. Can see that.
Because then at least Harrison can only kill one of them. The other one still lives, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You still push the 6. Maybe that's what you... I'm just thinking of what Staz has to do to really try and apply some level of pressure to surrender.
Now.
Well, that happens. That's some level of pressure. But now, the more that you mention it, I like trading into the 1-2 because just if you are planning on bluffing freezing, in principle, this is just better to leave higher cost minions that surrender with.
I think it's even less than bluffing freezing because surrender can always proc freeze in with these 1-1s from the hero power that Staz knows he's going to do.
Yeah.
I think it's more that the 1-1s can't kill any of these 2 minions, so it would require the hero power and the trade of the weapon, which means the hyenas live, and so on, so on. So it just compounds itself and deals more damage to surrender more consistently.
It's a good thing to note. For surrender, I guess the turn starts with the microbots and then testing for freezing. Problem is the mana for the rest of it gets a little bit weird. Maybe just, yeah, the Clockwork Goblin Wrench Caliber is still decent.
I mean,
Even if
Ziliax is fine as well, right?
Yeah, it survives snipe. Oh, going for this and
Okay,
yeah,
and
that's
rushing.
both here. Yep. And flies just under Rat Trap territory as well.
Wow, what a turn. Even after that nice setup from Staz, the turn ends up being surrender being 2 minions ahead against Hunter. And he has 2 Wrench Calibers, a good hero power next turn, the Ziliax, a Brawl, and a Shield block.
Also, Staz is kind of dying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's pushing like minimum 9 damage next turn unless Staz does something about this.
He just doesn't have the liberty to just go 9 lives and second high main here. Because he will take another 9. And there is the hero power showing another 3. Wrench Caliber is a very real threat.
And the jig's up for the hero power.
Yeah.
Surrender knows. Or at least, okay, it could be explosive, I think. He didn't go face, right? So it could be explosive, but again, I don't think Surrender cares. If it's explosive, fine. And if it's not, great. Because it's Rat Trap, and then Surrender doesn't ever have to play 3 cards a turn.
Wait, he did go face with the Harrison, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah, of course. Yeah, so he knows it's Rat Trap, wow.
Yeah.
So that's just doing the most powerful thing he can do on board, and I respect him for this play. He's going to take some damage, but at least he threatens something. Hunter cannot play the defensive at all.
So Surrender can easily just go Militia Commander, Wrench, Hero Power, Wrench and Hero Power, sorry, Militia and Hero Power into the 2/2s. The rest of the stuff goes face, I think. Alternatively, he could send the Hero Power face as well. I just don't see a reason.
Yeah, send it all face. You put him to 4.
Okay. Worst case scenario, high main sticks, so you take another 6, and then let's say Staz has Kill Command, and Eagle Horn Bow.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
That's still just 19.
In which, if he does that, then the minions live and Surrender wins. So even at worst or highest damage output, Staz has to kill commander minions, which means Surrender takes 6.
Yep.
Even if Surrender took 10, it's not a problem.
And that is why he is just
I
going
like
for
it.
max face damage output.
And still just doesn't even have to proc Rat Trap, it's just not a problem. Oh, you can do this trade as well because it does reduce the damage on board by 2, which is the same as killing a hyena, except it means that Brawl is much better next turn if he needs it.
Does this create any outs for Leok from Animal Companion? I don't think.
No, because it only increases the damage by the same that killing the Highmane would anyway. So at worst, he does the trade, and it's the same power level as Highmane and 2 hyenas. Right?
Well, Leok here would be 12 damage, and then double kill command is 22 total. Because what happened was that you generated more minions, so Leok kind of offsets the 2 damage.
I guess.
Yeah.
I get.
Because
But that's what I mean. The damage is the same. But I thought we counted it, and it wouldn't have been lethal.
If Surrender had traded into a
Oh, if you trade into a hyena,
the Leok would be less
he would
impactful,
actually be, there's actually extra damage on board from Leok, you are right.
I just don't know. Has Staz played double Animal Companion? Maybe he has.
I think he's only played the one, hasn't he?
Because I feel like that is an unnecessary risk for Surrender to take, because had he done the other trade, I think there was literally no outs. Maybe it presented a bigger Zul'jin threat, and Surrender chose not to play around a 3-card combo out, and one of those cards rolling a 1 and 3 for Leok. But in any case,
can't even put him to 2 to say if you don't have Ziliax, he'd be dead. If he didn't have Armor Gain, he'd lose if that was Explosive Trap.
Yeah.
He'd have to play defensively, but there's Armor Gain, there's Ziliax. It just doesn't matter anymore, and it's going to be a swing. He'll see it's explosive. The damage hits face anyway, and Surrender is going to take the series 2-1. And he's going to go up to a 4-4 score, and he needed that as well after he did lose to Flurry this past weekend. So now his weekend score is 1-1, so much more respectable. You've got to be worried after you lose 1 match, and early on, as your first match of a weekend, you're like, oh. You just don't want to go 0-2 because then you're actually losing ground a lot on everyone else in the division.
Yeah, Surrender now with the even score, I think it should be still pretty satisfied, because I've seen a lot of Grandmaster players tweet that when you're playing against the best in the world, you can't be too upset about just going 50%. That just means you're a solid player. And also, it's going to sound a little bit silly. Outside of the players who are doing insane, like Fino, Alutimu, Shaxi's doing well, the high scores, if you go 50-50, then you do have that upswing of 1 week here and there, you go 2-0 and you gain. Well, suddenly you do propel yourself into that, or at least around that top 3 spot, and that's all you need. You don't need to be number 1. It looks cool to be number 1, of course, but you just need to be top 3 to get into that potential playoff spot. I believe we do have Surrender. Yes, there he is. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Hi.
cool. Congratulations on the win. I just want to ask you, do you have much experience against this Secret Hunter? And then how were you feeling going into this matchup? Were you confident?
I already knew that this matchup is really good for Warrior, because one of my practice partner, Levias, he was close to bringing Secret Hunter.
Wow.
Okay.
And we played 10 games, Secret Hunter versus Bomb Warrior, and I almost won them all. So
Nice.
I already knew that.
So in your practice, what does the Hunter, or what did you find that the Hunter had to do to actually win the game? Was it double kill commands, from hand to late game to just burst you down?
In the first game, so without sideboardings, I only lost to early Secret Keeper, and I didn't have remover for it. Yeah.
Right. So just a kind of high roll, sort of big snowball effects were the problems.
Yeah.
Okay, and with going 1-1 this weekend, you are at 4-4 now in Grandmasters. How are you feeling about your chances in the rest of the season? Do you feel that you're improving and that you can do better and get one of those top 3 spots?
Obviously, I'm not happy with my score right now, but I treat myself as a throw starter, so I will definitely do better.
That sounds good to me. Do you have any questions,
Nothing
Jim?
wrong with a slow start if you get there in the end. I just wanted to ask Surrender, if you are going to Vegas, how are you feeling about that? And if you're not going, what do you think would be a good bring for Vegas?
To be honest, it has been really stressful for since I started playing Grandmasters, because I every single week I had to practice and I had to prepare for what decks to bring. And finally, I can get to have time with my friends. So I'm really happy with it.
Have a week off.
The good
Yeah,
bring to Vegas
week off.
is a good time, Raven.
Yeah, that is it. So I'm glad you're going to have a week off and chill for a little bit and relax. But yeah, just congratulations once again, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so Surrender taking a win there. And it seemed like, Headsy said, Rivius probably is feeling good about not bringing Hunter now, but in his
Dodged
practice,
a bullet there.
yeah, he said he pretty much just won every game unless the Hunter went Secret Keeper into unanswerable secret chains to snowball the game away there. So congratulations to Surrender. We can check out the results of the day as we are done with all 6 matches being played out. So we did have way back when the first Warrior Mirror of the day where Blood Trail took it over Tyler 2-1 in a boom-led dominance from both players, depending on which one won.
Yeah, Tyler did tweet out that he did not order any bombs, but at least he got a rockin' hairstyle to, close out the first half of GM Season 1 with. And then the second game we saw Dawn versus Glory. Glory taking it with Rogue with the double Fan of Knives, which definitely helped in the first game, but the second game, he still got there without even playing Fan of Knives, and I think that was very impressive on his part. Then we saw another Warrior Mirror with Chonsu and Rivius, and that one came pretty close right down to the very end.
Yeah, it was almost like we were living in the upside down or something, because the players who were deemed to be favored in each game won opposite games where they were deemed unfavored, and then Rivius ended up taking the series overall. So that was kind of cool. And then we had Frosty take the win over Flurry, which is a big deal because Flurry's been doing very, very well, and taking Flurry down on his signature class is fantastic. Alu Timu absolutely demolished Tom again with Mage versus Warrior, and again just another impressive feat from him.
I feel like this was the cleanest week for Alutamu just in terms of easy wins. Not
Turned
that his
up.
opponents were bad, but like he brought a good deck for the field, or at least the opponents that he queued into, and just played solid, drew well.
That's it.
Nothing to complain about.
Just do that for a few more weeks and you're going to be looking pretty good. Then, of course, we just had Surrender versus Staz. Very one-sided matchup. And from our information, from Surrender's update about he did actually practice that matchup with Rivius, and also from what we've seen from the deck so far, looks like probably the worst matchup. So unfortunate for Staz to go 0-2 and run into 2 Warrior players, which funnily enough was Rivius and Surrender. So that's actually quite funny, just not for Staz. So that is it for the matches today. We can check out updated standings. And after this, we can see where everyone lies. Alutimu at the top with a 7-1 score. But then look how close the rest of the pack are. There is Chonsu and Staz, nearing the bottom there. That's going to be a tough call for them to claw their way up. But then Flurry, Frosty, 5-3. Then Rivius, Surrender, and Tom, all 4-4. Is everything to play for in Division A.
Yeah, there's a lot of high-stakes matches going on after Vegas, for sure. But Alutemu has a solid 2-game lead over the next person, which is not the story in Division B, because Shaxi is just a little bit ahead. Dawn could have very well tied up the score there, but unfortunately did fall to Glory there. And because Glory won that matchup, now Shaxi has 2 people vying for his position, and still players like Tyler have a very good chance at swapping around those 2, 3, 4 slots, while everybody in the bottom half, though, looks like they have quite the mountain to climb.
It is, yeah. And for example, you look at Samuel, Silent Patrick, things can happen. If the other players lose tons of games and they win them all, then yes, it can happen where they move a lot further up the table. But honestly, for now, if you're taking a more realistic approach, then the rest of the season needs to be about shaking off any problems and just practice, and about how to prepare for GM, and just do everything you can to utilize that time well, and then come back strong for Season 2. Calling it a little bit early, I'm not trying to do that, but I'm just saying it's unlikely that they can make the top 3 at this point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there are 6 series left for each of the players because we have 3 weeks. So the worst that Shaxi and Alutamu can possibly go is 7-7 at this point, which is still a 50% win rate, which is insane.
Yeah,
I have to say.
And that's worst case scenario overall, and with the way they've been playing, I don't see that changing. I don't see that happening to go that bad. But that is it for us on Sunday. We've done 6 matches. It's been long. I didn't even hear that. Okay. So it's been long. It's been, but it's been great. Even the Warrior Mirrors that a lot of people do complain about have been fantastic. But that is going to be it from us. But bear in mind that there is Europe and Americas coming up. So if you just hang around, It's some more Hearthstone time.